Hello, Tattooed Athletic Club, and welcome to another edition of Tattooed Athlete. In this episode, I'm joined by Danny Lehr. Danny is the CEO for Caffeine and Kilos, and he's also the owner of Excel Health and Fitness in Manteca, California. Danny is also a competitive weightlifter, where he most recently took first place in the 2019 Masters World Cup in San Diego. Danny and I take a look at his incredibly meaningful tattoos and connect on the growth of tattoos in the fitness space. In addition, we connect on his journey in fitness, caffeine and kilos, and what's next for Danny's tattoo plans. Thanks for watching. Hello, Tattooed Athletic Club, and welcome to another edition of Tattooed Athlete. I am super stoked today to be joined by Caffeine and Kilos CEO, Danny Lehr. Danny, how's it going, man?
I'm good.
Good.
How you doing, Lambert?
I'm doing well, man. I appreciate you taking the time to join me.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. So like I mentioned, super into this journey of learning about people's tattoos, the stories behind them, and their fitness journeys. But before we get into your tattoos, because I know you got some awesome ones, why don't you tell me a little bit about your fitness background that kind of got you where you are today?
Absolutely. As a child, start there. My parents always had me in sports. I grew up on the sidelines of soccer fields and softball fields because they were always playing sports. So a couple nights a week they were in beer league softball. Where I remember on Sundays after church we go out to the soccer fields. My dad would be putting on his shin guards while driving because he was running late for the game. stuff
Right.
like that. So just kind of around athletics my whole life, and so I just never stopped working out. I was in college and I started coaching wrestling while I was still in college. And that was my best sport through high school and everything. And then was going to school to be a PE teacher, started teaching PE. Always had a kind of a passion for fitness and I really like helping people. And I know how good it feels to be healthy and to feel good. And I'd like to, try and share that with as many people as possible. Right.
Right.
So that led me to teaching PE. I got introduced to CrossFit from a firefighter friend of mine. I was doing that for a while, and I was really drawn towards the Olympic lifts. And then did a kind of messing around, did a weightlifting competition, did a couple of those, and fell in love with that. Then competed in Olympic style weightlifting for about 5 or 6 years, pretty seriously, at a relatively high level at the national level. And so then that kind of led me into Caffeine and Kilos. So
Right.
At this point, I have a gym, and the gym's been open since 2008.
Okay.
And then Caffeine and Kilos started in 2013. And so that took off pretty quick. And around 2014, 2015 is when I stopped teaching. And then since then, it's just been full-time Caffeine and Kilos in the gym.
Gotcha. And the name of your gym is Excel?
Right. Excel Health and Fitness.
Awesome. And is that CrossFit? Is that
Yeah.
weightlifting? A little bit of everything?
A little bit of everything now. So we
Okay.
started off as a CrossFit affiliate, and that was all we did. But now we have that. We're also a USA weightlifting barbell club. We have a yoga studio inside our facility. Not just we do a few classes, we have a whole separate studio inside here that. And then we do some other things. We do some sport specific training, some other things as well. But yeah, the meat and potatoes of it is still CrossFit classes. I mean,
very cool.
They want to get in shape, feel good, look good. That's the best way to do it.
Right. No question about that. So what are you doing now that you're not, competitive in the lifting?
So right now, I am doing a few things. I have small children, right? So I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old.
That's harder than lifting.
Yeah. Oh man, that's for sure. And so, but that's great. That's a lot of fun. But making sure to be involved with everything they have going on, helping out them. And then also just doing business, working with Caffeine and Kilos and continuing to grow that and kind of spread the message of that healthy, active lifestyle. And so as of now, I'm not competing or anything. Last year in 2019, I kind of came out of retirement, you could say, and did a weightlifting meet, or I had to do a qualifying meet. So Masters World Cup was in California. And so I had a friend reached out and said, hey man, Masters World Cup, it's never going to be closer to you than it is now. And so I kind of felt like I had little bit of a monkey on my back when I was competing. There's just a handful of things I never accomplished that I really wanted to in weightlifting. And so this was an opportunity to kind of make up some ground there. So anyway,
Right.
so I trained for whatever, 8 weeks, did a local meet, got a qualifying total, another 12 weeks of training. And then I went down to San Diego and competed in that. So that was a lot of fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. And I definitely remember seeing some of your posts, and man, you look super fit doing all those masters. That's awesome, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
And then Caffeine in Kilos is, I mean, you kind of mentioned it. It's not very old, but it seems like it's everywhere. It seems like it's completely taken off.
Yeah, I hope so. I
Yeah.
would like to, I want to see it everywhere, you know?
It's everywhere, man. I mean,
Yeah.
if I go East Coast, overseas, everywhere, there's Caffeine and Kilos merchandise. Clearly, I got mine on.
Yeah.
I love the brand. I love what you guys are about. So kudos to you guys. That's awesome.
Yeah, awesome. It's been a lot of fun, and our whole mission is that idea that we want to, you know, spread that message of a healthy, active lifestyle. And so through our coffee and the apparel, and it I definitely think it has an impact, right? So if you're drinking our coffee, you get up in the morning, you're making coffee, you grab our bag, all right, you see it, you see our logo, you know that we are a fitness brand, you know what we're all about. You bought our coffee because you like working out, right? I'm telling you, I am convinced you are more likely to go to the gym that day, right? Having that experience than if you just grabbed whatever, a jar of Folgers or something, right?
Yep.
And so it's kind of being there and being a presence in people's life. I think it's great, you know?
Right. It's super cool. It's a community. You've absolutely created a community within another community, right?
Right.
So people feel connected when they see the merchandise or drinking the coffee or whatever it is. It's great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's jump into it, man. I want to hear about your tattoos. Maybe, I know you've got a full sleeve, maybe some other ones as well. But maybe your first one and the story behind it, and we'll see where that takes us.
I always was into tattoos, and when I was a teenager, I remember always like my parents, I'm like, hey, you know, like I'm gonna get some tattoos anyway, like let's just go do it now. And it was always the same response. Oh, when you're 18, you can do what you want. I'm like, all right. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm on my 18th birthday, I'm gonna go get some, you know, a tattoo, whatever. And then that didn't happen. But I, you know, I think I was 19 or something, 20.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was just kind of funny. It was one of those things when you're 15, you're like, oh, I'm definitely doing that. And then time happens. So actually the first one is I got a cross on my back. So I grew up in the church, and faith was really a big part of my life during that time. So that was the very first one I got. It also was my lowest quality tattoo for a while. I've got it fixed since.
Okay.
But it was just a drop-in situation. Like I was driving home from college, and I was like, you know, I think we're gonna get that tattoo. And so I just like stopped by a shop, walked in, and anyway, so that's on my back.
And is it like big piece or like a little thing?
It's on my shoulder blade. It's probably exactly. So it's probably, you know, whatever, 8 inches tall, and, you know, something like that. And so 6 to 8 inches tall. So not huge, but not tiny, you know.
Right. And you loved it at the moment. You're like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done.
Coolest thing ever. It was the coolest thing ever, you know? Yeah. And then it's funny, then you get a few more that are like higher quality work. And then you start to realize like, man, that other one really could use a little touch up, huh?
Right.
So anyway, so it's been like filled in and kind of touched up a little bit since then.
Very cool. That got you going a little bit.
Oh yeah, of course. So then it's on. And so now I was teaching for a while, and so I was making sure to kind of keep everything like above my elbows, you know, type deal. It matters less and less as time goes on, and I'm not sure how much it totally mattered then, but I kind of felt like it did.
Absolutely.
So anyway, so I got a few other ones after that, but they're kind of on my upper arm, or I got one on my side. You know, things like my wife's name.
Cool. Example,
Important. Right. So there's 3 of them right there. Right. So I have two daughters, and then my wife, and there's 3 different tattoos, one for each of them.
Okay. And what are those?
So the one with my wife it's just kind of her name and a design. There's not a whole lot more to that. That was one of that might have been my second one I ever got.
Okay.
Maybe close to it anyway. honestly, like the first 3 or 4 kind of blend together. I remember the very first one, and then number like 2 through 5. I'm not totally certain of the order.
I'm with you. Same page.
And then my oldest daughter, her name is Madeline Rose, and so I got the name Madeline and then a rose underneath it.
Awesome.
And it's all right. It's pretty good, but I'm actually I have an appointment in January to go into a guy to get that kind of bring a little life into that one as well. And so that was one of my earlier ones or middle ones. And then with my daughter Nora, it says Nora, and then there's some flowers there. They kind of just look good, represent
right.
That. So
very cool.
Yeah, and so those ones are the those are all kind of obvious meanings, obvious tie-ins.
Yeah. Very important. Very important
ones. That's the most important things, in life, right?
Right. No question about it. And so,
and once you get, here's a tip to somebody, like once you get your first kid's name, if you have more kids, I mean, it's going to happen, right? You don't really have a choice on the subsequent ones.
Oh yeah, no, you're committed at that point to however many kids you have, they're getting a tattoo.
That's why we quit having kids. I went and got a vasectomy
right.
because I was like, I'm just,
right. I can't do this anymore. No more names. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
So where'd you go from there?
Then a few other ones. So California, born and raised in California. So I got the California flag, not the whole flag, just the bear and the star. Mm-hmm. And then he looked kind of lonely, and so I went in a little bit later and got put him in Yosemite.
Oh, cool.
And so I kind of got this. There's you could see like Half Domes in the background there, and El Capitan, and so he's in Yosemite Valley now. He's the only grizzly in Yosemite.
Oh yeah, there you go. There's only one, and you've got it.
That's right. That's right.
And where is that one?
That was on the inside of my arm, so it's kind of like on the inside bicep there.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that was fun. So when I look at old pictures, like weightlifting pictures too, I'm like overhead of the snatch, and it's just the bear, and it doesn't have anything around. It's kind of funny sometimes. Like, man, he looks kind of lonely there by himself.
Right? Yeah. It is kind of cool to reminisce on pictures and be like, okay, I can tell when this was based on the tattoos I have at that point.
Yeah. Or it's funny because you see them the way they are now, and that's how you're used to seeing them. I see that, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. For a while, it was just the bear and the star.
Just that.
Forgot about that,
Right, you're right. And then it just took off. So is there does the whole sleeve have a theme to it, or are they just different pieces?
The bottom half does. So I basically down to my elbow, it's accumulation of 4 different tattoos basically. Mm-hmm. And then from the elbow down is another one. Then one of my favorites is actually on like my upper arm. And it looks like out an airplane, like the clouds. Oh, cool. Yeah. Like on top of the clouds. And so that was kind of the idea of, actually, it's funny. I got the inspiration was the Headspace meditation app. So one of the things they talk about in the Headspace app is how even when, life's hard and things are rough or you're discouraged because things aren't going your way, you got to remember, like, there's always, it's like rain clouds, right? But like, there's always blue skies on top of the clouds. Like, when you go in an airplane, it's raining or whatever, and you take off and you go through the clouds, you come out on top, but it's like the blue sky is always there. It's like, there might be hard times, you might be struggling with something, but it will pass. And there is always, remember, there is that blue sky, beyond your struggles, beyond what you're going through. And
definitely.
That's kind of what that's all about.
Definitely.
But
I love that.
Yeah, you did a real good job.
And where did you get that done? Do you remember?
Yeah. So Bo McCoy is his name. He's up in Sacramento. He's great. He did that one for me. And then he did some other things for me as well. So.
Nice. So let's hear about the rest of it.
Yes. And from the elbow down is it's kind of like a collage, I guess you could say. But it's the idea, the theme is make your own luck. Awesome. And so that was the idea. Is I've always been frustrated with, I guess you could say, or I just don't like it when people, he got lucky type thing. And not even necessarily about myself. I don't know if anybody accused me of getting lucky. I'm sure they do, whatever. But just in general, like in sports, I remember like coaching wrestling, or I was competing in wrestling or competing in weightlifting. It's like, someone like, oh man, he got lucky to get this draw or whatever. Oh man, he got lucky. I made that low, got lucky, made that lift. It's not fucking luck. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's the idea that you, you fall to your training. right? That's kind
Absolutely.
of how it goes. Like sometimes you can rise to the occasion, but most frequently people fall to their level of training. So it's not, they didn't get lucky. They were just prepared for what happened. And the other thing is, even if you do consider it, luck or whatever, you were in the position and you took advantage of the opportunity. I think a lot of times what people would consider someone got lucky for something happening, it's like, no, man, they did something to put themselves in that position. And then when the opportunity presented itself, they recognized the opportunity and took advantage of that opportunity, right? And then you call that luck, and it's like, it's not,
doesn't make sense.
It's not luck. They put themselves there and then they took a risk at one point, that's usually how that happens. So that's just kind of how I feel about a lot of things. Because I just think that I don't like people playing victim or like thinking of themselves as a victim, like they don't have any control over the situation. And oftentimes when people do that, I don't have any control over it. It's easier to say, well, that guy won because he got lucky, because then it doesn't make them feel bad for not accomplishing it, right? Like they can brush off their own lack of effort by chalking up your success to luck.
Yep.
So that's the idea there. And so I just went to Bo because he's a fantastic artist. I just told him, said, hey man, like, here's the idea, like make your own luck. Like, I don't know.
That's so cool.
And just something with that. And so he said, okay, sounds good. And then just drew it up. How does this look? Looks good.
Nailed it.
And then,
yeah.
And then so that's from my, just above my elbow all the way down. And so that took, I think that was 4 8-hour sessions.
Oh, that's so cool.
Something like that. So.
And what's all in the collage?
Yeah. So there is, there's a rabbit's foot, like a rabbit's foot that's severed there. You got to chop that shit off yourself, and get it going.
Right.
And so that's kind of fun. That's actually maybe my favorite part of it, is the severed.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah. I like that a lot.
And then there's it's got a royal flush, some cards. So it's funny.
Okay.
Oh, you like playing cards? I'm like, cards are all right, but it's not. It's more like the right. So yeah, it's a royal flush, but it's missing the ace, but it's guy's got it up the sleeve there.
Oh, super cool.
So
yeah, that's awesome.
Up the sleeve, that's the that's the hard work, right? Like the hard work you put in, and the preparation, that's the ace up the sleeve.
Very cool.
And then there's a clover on there, which doesn't really make your own luck so much, but it's like a lucky clover.
Right. All about it.
And then there is also the guy. So it all kind of revolves around this hand, and so he's got the rabbit foot is tethered around there, and he's flipping a coin, and those coins actually go all the way up.
Oh man, that is awesome.
And so anyway, so all those coins are they're all double-headed. They all have heads on both sides, right?
Yeah.
So, and again, that's not necessarily encouraging cheating. It's if you put in the work ahead of time, right, then you see opportunities everywhere, right?
Yep.
And so that's it. Like you put in the work, you're prepared, and then you're ready to take a risk and seize opportunities as they present themselves. And how these opportunities present themselves, how you get lucky, is by putting in the work, and that's how you get the deck kind of stacked in your favor.
Yep. No question. I think that's a super cool message. It's one of the most unique tattoos I've seen, and I love it.
Yeah.
And just to even tie it into something happening recently, right? Like if you watch Matt Frazier and Tia Toomey, there's no luck there. People want to say, oh, well, they got lucky with this event or this program. It's like, there is no luck, right? No. There's no question who the better person is or who the better athlete is, and they leave no doubt, right?
Oh, man. And I'll tell you what, the most inspirational thing there is on that very last workout. If you look at Carrie Pierce, whatever, she was in last place. And then she got in that last workout, she got first place, beat all the women, beat all the men.
Yep.
Right. First place by minutes, not like a few seconds, like by minutes.
Oh yeah. No question.
And that, like, how does that happen on the last day, the 12th workout over these 3 days? And there's, hour-long workout, this crazy event, but she was in the position to do it.
Right.
And it's like over the whole weekend, maybe some of the events weren't her strengths or whatever. And this last one was her strength. So someone could look at that and say, oh man, she got lucky. That last workout was perfect. Like she could have designed that workout, or that's the workout she would have written to play into her strengths or whatever. Right. But But then I call bullshit. Like that's not, she didn't get
I agree.
lucky. Like was actually the workouts, like, or the work she put in over the entire weekend to even be within striking distance, right?
Yep.
Like if, like that obviously has an impact on it. And then she's even talked about how running was a weakness of hers, and she's just been hammering running for the last year. Well, this workout's like, yeah, maybe part of it was exactly what she would have drawn out of, if she would have drawn up. But there's also 2 miles of running in it. And I don't think that is what she would have
no, definitely not
written down, right?
Not many of us would have put that in.
Yeah. So that's actually a great example of being prepared and preparing yourself. So when an opportunity arises, being in a position to take advantage of that opportunity, and get the most out of it.
And capitalize on that moment.
And capitalize it. And man, if you don't watch anything else, just go watch her run that last mile. And like, I don't ever want to feel that way.
No.
Like looking at her face and watching her do that, I'm like, this looks absolutely like, I was like, I don't know if she's going to make it. Like I thought she was going to like fall down halfway back, Like,
right. And us mortals, I mean, we're looking like that if we just do that event.
The 1 mile?
Oh, yeah, not everything else. Everything else. Well, super cool. Love the tattoo. I love that we're able to tie it into something, obviously recent news in our sport. Super cool.
Absolutely.
So, and one other thing, I wanted to kind of flip back on that you mentioned, tattoos in terms of, they're not as discreet as they used to be, right? And a lot of people were trying to get things that they could hide. My first one was on a forearm that I knew maybe one day I'll have to hide it. Now I wear gym shorts and tank tops to work. You know what I mean? So what does that look like to you, that growth?
I think that if you look to most people that have tattoos that are exposed now, if you look, they're usually pretty good. Like it's pretty good artwork is what I mean. Mm-hmm. I think that previously, even, 20 years ago, especially, but 20 years ago and before is, occasionally you would have someone who has, a full sleeve tattoo or these exposed tattoos that are like good artwork type thing. But there is still this connection, or this between, whether real or imagined, but between, people with tattoos, and it's like, obviously like prison or military, right? Like those are kind of your options. Right. So they see you, like if you're a guy and you got some tattoos that are exposed, and, I think also the quality of the artwork and tattoos is really just grown exponentially as it's more legitimate. Right. And so, I think you see these exposed tattoos, they're usually, maybe they're a little sketchy also, it looks like somebody with a ballpoint pen and a shank. Right. And so then it's
for sure.
Right. So I think that actually is a big impact on it is the quality of the work. I think that if they didn't look as good, and if it wasn't as much of a piece of art as they are now, that there would still kind of be that stigma around it, and people would be less likely to get them and have them. But now, I mean, that's honestly what I like about mine so much. And actually kind of I've mentioned some of my favorite ones there is the quality artwork, like the one where it's the black and white on top of the clouds, the sun coming in, like that's like, it's really good. Like it's good artwork, and that's, I think is really cool. And one of the things I like about them best,
Right. I love it. Yeah. But what's next? You said you have another appointment in January. What are you going to get then?
Yeah. So there's this, so Ian is a tattooist in Sacramento. And he is just Ian Miller, and he is incredible, very good. And it's funny, his sister is actually a big CrossFitter. She's great. She was a member of the gym for a while. She's in the military. She travels around quite a bit, but she was here for a few months and was coming here, and she's really cool. But so her brother, he has up there, and he's one of the best around. And so he did the Nora on my chest, the flowers underneath it. Did a fantastic job. So I'm going into him because while he's really good, and because he's so good, I didn't know if he would want to do it's not even really cover up. It's just like kind of bringing some life new, right? So I don't know if he'd want to do that type thing because you make an appointment, it's like 18 months out. Like you got to book him and this whole
thing. It's serious.
Oh yeah. It's like, get it here, put $500 down and I'll see you in 18 months. Yeah. It's kind of how it goes. Right.
Right. And don't miss it. Make sure you remember.
Don't miss it. That's it. Yeah. And so when he was doing the piece of my chest, we were talking, because we had just kind of talked through social media a little bit, and he knew he knows about Caffeine and Kilos, and he kind of knows about me through his sister and stuff like that. And so we had just shot the shit a few times. So while he was doing the tattoo on my chest, I kind of mentioned, I was like, oh yeah. Cause he was looking, he was like, man, this dude, like, you have good tattoos, you know? Cause sometimes he sees all kinds of people with different tattoos. Like, these are good. Like, who did these? And we're talking about it. I said, yeah, the only one is this, the rose. Like, it's not bad. It's not bad. Like, it's not a bad tattoo at all.
Yeah.
But it's just, a lot of the other ones are really good. And so it almost, it doesn't, I feel like it doesn't do justice. Right.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was mentioning that, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'd fix that up for you. I was like, oh, I didn't want to ask because I didn't, kind of type thing. He's like, oh yeah, no problem, dude. Like, once I've done something on you, it's whatever. Like, no problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going in, get that touched up, kind of, bring some life into it, get it to kind of match the quality of everything else I got.
Very cool.
And then I think actually I don't have any tattoos on my legs. I think I'm gonna get a thigh tattoo.
Very cool. And any idea of what you'd want, or just a location you like?
Oh, I think we can get a bouncing barbell.
Very cool.
Just kind of like I mean, weightlifting is still a big part of my life. I mean, fitness in general, but the sport of weightlifting, that's, again, I spent 5 or 6 years where I trained 9 sessions a week doing that. And then last year going and getting first place in that Masters World Cup. It's just something that's been, had a big part of my life, and I spent a lot of time doing it. And it's that, anyway, a lot of lessons through weightlifting. So I think the idea of like an Olympic barbell, like bouncing.
Yeah, that'll be cool. That'd be very cool. And I'm sure it sounds like you've got some artists that would be down to do something awesome with that too.
Yeah, I'm when I go in to get this rose fixed up, I'm going to see if I can talk him into just doing it on the spot.
There you go. Just back like when you were 19 and you just walk into the shop.
Like, dude, while I'm here, like,
just hit this real quick.
Just pop it on there.
There you go. Perfect. That easy. So other than that, what's next for you in fitness, and what's next for Caffeine and Kilos, man?
Man, Caffeine and Kilos, we are we're in a good spot right now. We have a coffee of the month that is a ton of fun. People really like it. So every month it's a different blend, and they all have, we kind of let you know what the different like tasting notes are. And a lot of times the naming complex, like we name it something that reminds you of the notes in it. It's like, for example, October is called chocolate taffy, and it looks like a Tootsie Roll. Like, the logo looks like a Tootsie Roll.
Oh, cool.
Because when you taste it, it's like, it's like wine or whatever. You get the different like notes out of it. And all of us, when we were drinking, it was like, man, this just tastes like fucking milk chocolate. Like, that's
so
like,
good.
That's it. Right. Exactly. And it's reminded of Tootsie Roll. So anyway, that's a lot of fun. So every month it's like a different blend. I mean, it's just coffee. There's no added flavors,
right.
But just kind of talk about what the natural flavors or natural notes are in it.
Yeah.
So that's something that's been great. That program continues to grow. People love it. And so that subscription, the coffee of the month subscriptions keep going up, and that's a lot of fun. So that's something we've been having a lot of fun with. Yeah.
Right. And have you seen coffee sales go up during COVID with people being home more?
We started shipping coffee free.
There you go.
So yeah, absolutely. That was how, when everything first started going down, we didn't know how serious it was, and all, everything's all closed, and going to the store sucks, and
For sure.
So, especially in March, when everything was crazy.
Yeah.
And so we said, okay, well, what can we do that actually could help people, right? Like, what can we actually do as far as like just your everyday person to like lighten the burden a little bit or lighten the load? So, well, we know we have coffee, we have really good coffee. And so we'll just start shipping coffee free. And that way it's like, you can buy your coffee, maybe save you a trip to the store. And we know you're getting good, high quality coffee, and there we go. So we just started shipping coffee free, and that's been good for us. People appreciate that.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, like I said, man, you guys are absolutely killing the coffee game. It's been fun to certainly catch up with you periodically over the past few years. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for taking the time, and
awesome,
I'll be touching base with you soon.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks.
Awesome. See you, man.